Today I'm looking at the word proskuneo and found a pretty good site, and it's called the New World Translation in Proskuneo Worship. And I'll read a little bit. It says, the word proskuneo means to kiss the hand, bow down before, show obeisance, to worship. Since the Jehovah's Witnesses deny that Jesus is God, they maintain that he is not to be worshipped. So, how does the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society translate the word proskuneo in their Greek New Testament in reference to Jesus and other objects of adoration? The New World Translation never translates the word into worship when it references Jesus. It does, however, render the word as worship regarding the devil, the dragon, the beast, the image, demons, idols, and an angel. Of course, they correctly translate it as worship when it deals with God. Is the New World Translation biased against worshiping Jesus? It would surely seem so, and especially since the NASB, NIV, KJV, NKJV, etc. all translate the word as worship in reference to Jesus. Here is a chart of the scriptures used, where obeisance is used, and you can see right here is Jesus, God, demons, dragon, beast, image, devil, generic, idols, Peter, angel. And everywhere there is Jesus, it's always obeisance, bowing down, not an act of worship. What I'm looking at is this Bible, New World Translation of the Greek, Christian Greek Scriptures from 1950, from the Watchtower. And in the foreword it says, the Greek text that we have used as the basis of our New World Translation is the widely accepted Westcott and Hort text 1881 by reason of its admitted excellence. But we have also taken into consideration other texts, including that prepared by D. Eberhard Nessel, and that compiled by the Spanish Jesuit scholar Jose Maria Bover, and that by the other Jesuit scholar A. Merck. Where we have varied from the reading of the Westcott and Hort text, our footnotes show the basis for our preferred reading. We give some definiteness to the background for the renderings of our text by showing in our footnotes the most ancient manuscripts and versions upon which we call for support. Besides this, we have offered alternative English renderings of the Greek text and variant readings of said manuscripts and versions. Thus, in our footnotes, we have provided a sort of critical apparatus for our translation rather than a commentary on the scriptures. So, in Hebrews 1:6, it's interesting what they had in 1950, using those manuscripts, which they used in the 80s when they printed this interlinear for their Greek. They used in Hebrews 1:6 the word worship. So what does this say? And right here it says, but when he again brings his firstborn, talking about Jesus, into the inhabited earth, he says, and let all God's angels worship him, not do obeisance to him. Worship. And there's a circle beside the word worship, and in this Bible they go to James 1:27. So we'll just quickly go there, see what that says. And it says, starting right there, the form of worship that is clean and undefiled from the standpoint of our God and Father is this: to care for orphans and widows in their tribulation, and to keep oneself without spot from the world. So this word worship will carry a trail. But Jehovah's Witnesses back then, in the 50s, must have been asking questions, a lot of questions. Were allowed to worship Jesus since angels worshipped him? What is going on? Is this true? In the Interlinear Bible, in Hebrews 1:6, we look at the Greek, and it's literal Greek. It says, whenever, but again, he should lead in the firstborn one into the being inhabited earth, he is saying, and let do obeisance toward him all angels of God. So since they use this manuscript, these manuscripts in the 50s, they used the word proskuneo and said worship. But in the 80s, or it could have been earlier than the 80s when they had their, I think they had a New World Translation in the 70s, they probably changed it to do obeisance or just bow down to Jesus, because they don't like worshiping Jesus. And in that chart, if you go back to that chart, I'll leave a link, you can see they would rather give worship to demons, the devil, the dragon, than to Jesus. This is the 2013, and they say pretty much the same thing. But when he again brings his firstborn into the inhabited earth, he says, and let all of God's angels do obeisance to him. So the only word they added was of. And down here, the asterisk takes you to, or bow down to him. Kind of like a little curtsy a girl would do. It's basically what it is, or just getting down on one knee and showing respect, other than doing an act of worship that God commanded in the Bible for the angels to worship Jesus. So, like I said, I'll leave that chart for you to look at, and I think that's all for now. Now, I realize I said God commanded the angels to worship him, but that isn't exactly true. Let's read Hebrews chapter 1 in context here, in the King James. It says, God, who at sundry times and in divers manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets, hath in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he hath appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the worlds, who being the brightness of his glory and the express image of his person, and upholding all things by the word of his power, when he had by himself purged our sins, sat down on the right hand of the majesty on high, being made so much better than the angels, as he hath by inheritance obtained a more excellent name than they. For unto which of the angels said he at any time, Thou art my Son, this day have I begotten thee? And again, I will be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son? And again, when he bringeth in the first begotten into the world, he saith, And let all the angels of God worship him. And of the angels he saith, Who maketh his angels spirits, and his ministers a flame of fire. But unto the Son he saith, Thy throne, O God, is forever and ever. A scepter of righteousness is the scepter of thy kingdom. Thou hast loved righteousness and hated iniquity. Therefore God, even thy God, hath anointed thee with the oil of gladness above thy fellows. And thou, Lord, in the beginning hast laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the works of thine hands. They shall perish, but thou remainest, and they all shall wax old, as doth a garment. And as a vesture shalt thou fold them up, and they shall be changed. But thou art the same, and thy years shall not fail. But to which of the angels said he at any time, Sit on my right hand, until I make thine enemies thy footstool? Are they not all ministering spirits sent forth to minister for them who shall be heirs of salvation? So clearly, Jesus is not an angel either. This is why God said, Let all the angels worship him